Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Let me adjust this a little bit. There we go, perfect. So, welcome all back to another live stream. So as usual, there's a lot of information that's come through recently, just like over the past couple of weeks with everything that's been occurring, assembling my own bits of the information, and now it's time to unpack it. As I've been unpacking it throughout the course of today with Samantha, just kind of talking about it more, and now it's time to come online and discuss. So I don't know where exactly it's going to start, but the topic of this video is the individuation. Individuation, as defined, is basically kind of like how I view autonomy, which is being your own identity in the collective. But how this is really resulting now is very much so in the energies and the way that the energies are working. Authenticity is key right now. Okay, so because of that, we now have to show up in our authentic form. And anything that is inorganic within us or isn't authentic is going to be revealed, whether it be through immediate reflection, mirroring, or if we try to produce or create something that is inorganic, it's just not going to stick. Hello, Dave. Welcome. Yes, long time no see. So because of this, like, I've landed in this energy where it feels like very much, so first off, back to the individuation thing, showing up authentically, is recognizing that for many of us on this journey, we landed in the healing journey, you know, the archetype of the healer role. And when many of us step into the healer role, we come to this because we recognize that there's maybe a gap or missing piece within us, and we're trying to recall that missing piece or to fill that void within. But what we have come into and are recognizing, and this is what this energy is really doing right now here on Gaia, is that the New Age framework is completely getting stripped apart and getting broken down. So many of us came into our role as healers thinking like, okay, I want to be a healer. There's some, you know, there's what it starts out with, there's a sense of purpose in my life. What is this purpose? What is this mission? What am I here to do? What am I here to accomplish? And a lot of us were looking for a solution to the fact that we are the solution at the time, we were the solution in a fractured society or in a fractured world. And so because we felt out of place, we thought that we were fractured or broken or whatever it may be. Thus started the healing journey. And when many of us come into the role of, like, you know, the light worker role and becoming a healer or, you know, tarot, whatever, we're always seeking a teacher. So many of us come into this going, I'm stepping, just like if you're going to step into new territory, you know, like if I'm going to go get my driver's license, I'm going to go to a driving school and there's going to be an instructor that's going to teach me how to drive. Well, what happened for many of us was that we woke up and we're like, okay, purpose, I need to find a teacher. Okay, so I go and I find this teacher. I find the teacher, and then all of a sudden now, I forget I didn't know in the first place that all the power and all the knowledge that I'm trying to obtain from this person is within me. And so many of us started to click subscribe, engage with different modalities, different ways of learning that were actually just as fractured as the society that we projected down into. And so what it did was it started to, many of us had very organic templates that were instilled within us, very organic energetic structures. And what happened was now it's like seeing us as fresh clay, and now we can be molded into whatever it is that these individuals want to mold us into. And, you know, I don't think thank you so much, Lori, I appreciate it. I don't think that at some level, like, so there's a lot of covert narcissism in the spiritual community, and I laugh about it now because, like, I've been through enough tears that I have to laugh about it now. there is a lot of covert narcissism that occurs in the spiritual communities, but also too is that in the form of truth and in the form of mastery and in the form of being a teacher, you know, part of the process of being a teacher is clicking subscribe to their ideologies and their definitions of you, especially when it comes down to healing, okay? And this is coming back to this because I'm kind of diving into the guru thing, which doesn't really need to dive into right now. The aspect of this that I'm coming from is the healing journey. Is that it's like, okay, I'm broken and I need to be fixed. Well, what's happened is, of course, on that road and on that route of the healing journey, we're of course resolving our issues and we're processing our traumas. And I feel like the healing journey too is, what's happened with the healing journey is that we have a lot of energy workers that are very, very, very apt at what they do, and they can start to mold you and shape you into fulfilling a lot of their missions. This is what I've seen happen, where you join a group and you're like, cool, I'm a part of this group, I'm a part of something, and then all of a sudden, like in Dreamtime, you're doing weird things and you're like, you know, it's like you didn't ask consciously to say, hey, I want to be a part of X, Y, or Z, or I want to do this, or you didn't vocalize that, but now all of a sudden you're a part of doing something. You're like, why am I doing this right now? And it's mostly energetic from the stuff that I experienced. So what started to happen was we started getting molded and shaped, some of us. We could call it grooming. At the end of the day, what's happening through this very kind of long reroute back to this is that in the process of the individuation, we kind of like we've been on this journey to discover that we're source in body. And now that we do, it's time for us to show up as our authentic creation, and anywhere someone has chiseled us into something that we aren't is getting removed. So I look at it like this. In old coins, so if you're into old coins, if you find these old coins from like the 1700s, 1800s, and earlier, what would happen is there would be a coin, and someone would get a piece of the coin and they would chip off a little piece of it. Because back in the days, if you could chip off enough, oh, hi baby, Mama's is meowing. If you chip off enough pieces of, like, you get a coin, you chip off a little piece, and you get out every coin you get, you eventually have a pile of silver or gold or a precious metal that you can mold into a new coin. So basically, this is kind of, and I'm not stating this from some, it's just the way it's the way that I see it and the way that I view this whole process, is that basically everyone we've encountered on the journey to learn from, to get to this point of recognition that we are a beautiful direct reflection of source, anywhere that we've been chipped off or fractured or fragmented or molded into something else isn't going to stick. And so a lot of us are landing back at this energy where we're like, dude, I feel like I just flashed back like, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Well, part of that is recovering broken pieces. We're recovering aspects of ourselves that we need to be in our power to be able to move forward. But a lot of it too is that we may have been along the journey molded and crafted into something that we aren't. And it's a part of that New Age agenda that many of us were clicking subscribe to and didn't know we were. And so now, you recognizing that you're your own individual creation, that you are that perfect reflection of source as you are, now we have to show up as that. And that means that for some of us, we're having to unlearn a lot of things, because actually what we once may have thought was distorted or wrong or corrupt actually wasn't. It was just the unique expression of us. It's just that it may not have fit into someone else's framework, and so someone tried to fit you into their framework or tried to project onto you that, hey, you are this, you are that, this is distorted, this is X, Y, and Z. The way that these energies work now is that whatever's meant to go is going to go, and whatever's meant to stay is going to stay. This is the way the energies have been, but it's very much so now. I notice it like it's all going to come out in the wash. And it's something that I mentioned, gosh, I think it was back in January with one of the energy reports, is like whatever is meant to come out in the wash is going to come out in the wash. But because of that, we're kind of, some of us are revisiting older energy to see what aspects of that we can hold on to and discard. But a lot of it too is, for me, is recognizing that there's this unique organic expression that is Corey, that has always been Corey, that was Corey before I started the lightworker journey, meaning the conscious lightworker journey. And now it's about who I was before I came into this journey, because that's where I'm supposed to be. So a lot of us chose to come into the role of the lightworker or all these different archetypes, the star seed, things like that, because that was the process of self-discovery of who we truly are. And then it's like we kind of go back to the beginning, not so much as a loop, but like a revisit, like, okay, we had to, for me, I had to show up in these different forms and to work with these different peoples and to do what I needed to do to anchor what I needed to anchor here now. But now that it's all anchored, now it's kind of like, what do you want to do? What do you want to create for yourself as this unique expression of source that is you here now? How do you want to show up? What do you want to do? What do you want to create for yourself? And that's where a lot of this question mark is because there's a lot of facets, folds, and aspects of me that are coming up that I thought were once, you know, X, Y, or Z. They were distorted. It was this, it was that. And basically, it wasn't at all. It just didn't fit into a certain framework. And so the energy coming into this time frame of the past couple weeks, probably past month, about right before 4/4, about the beginning of April, was, it's like we were all in a room and we were pointing out who was right and wrong. And some of that I feel is still going on. I'm just not engaged in it. And now the way the energies, it's like sitting the family in and having a big game of Family Feud. But it's like, this person did this to me, this person did that to me, that person needs to go, this person needs to stay, you need to change. That was kind of the energy. And now it's like Source has us all sitting in a room and it's like, okay guys, now it's time for us to all get along. Let's all figure out how we can play nice together. And versus trying to change one another and fix and or kick out or to give the boot. There was a lot of this there's a lot of this energy that's been playing out, which has created a lot of, you know, war, discord, patterns that have been repeating for eons and eons and eons. And as we know, these patterns are ending now. So a lot of it is now, okay, how do we unify and just allow ourselves to be ourselves authentically? This is the individuation process. How do we allow ourselves to be this individual form of source and recognize that in this creator energy, we serve a unique expression to this entire role? Because I think of it like this. We're all a puzzle piece. And if I try to shape you into a different puzzle piece, I'm shifting you out of that organic nature and turning you into something inorganic. Because your view of organic and my view of organic may be different because of, once again, individual experiences, but it's also because you came down here to serve your individual role as source in body. So, we can't be reshaping one another anymore. We just kind of have to allow everyone to be who they are. And this is what, modern trouble. Oh, modem trouble. I thought I said modern trouble. This is the big issue with society right now, is we're all kind of like recognizing like, oh crap, this is who I really am. And we're in this review process. Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? How do I want to create? So it's not only happening in like the collective that is waking up, but it's also happening in the Lightworker collective as well. This change is happening everywhere. And for many of us, we're being, you know, we've been, I'm going to say we, because there's a few of us I've talked to about this, that we're very much so kind of isolated right now. Not quarantined, but all the people that we had in our field and that we were like, you know, friends, things like that, may have had to go exit stage left. Well, it's because there's also this part of the journey where it's like, okay, you're in the dark all by yourself now. It's time for you to figure out how to get back to where you need to belong or to do what you need to do for yourself. Because that's part of the way showing, and it's also a big important part of, at least in my life, is there's these moments where everyone just kind of disbands and leaves because I have some stuff that I need to figure out on my own, and no one can answer that for me. So this is part of the process of like, if you've been consciously giving your power away to another individual to provide answers for you, if you've been giving your power away to a reader, to a healer, because you feel like they have something you don't. No, it's all within you. And I feel like a lot of us are reshaping our practices now. I know for Samantha and I, we're very much so more in the role of wanting to be the space holder and allow you to figure out what you're going to figure out. You know, we see this with I see this because I know quite a few tarot readers, okay? And the number one complaint I've heard from tarot readers that do this full time is that they have those recurring clients that keep coming back and giving their power away. Hey, you know, wanting readings, becoming addicted to getting the readings because it's like, every time you're doing that to a certain level and a certain degree, you can be giving your power away to someone else. And this recognition point is taking our power back, recognizing that, hey, all these answers that I have are within me, And it's now time to find them within myself. And this is a part of this review time and what we are doing in this quarantine process. And so we're finding this is how we're now having to really reshape things. Part of this too is that we are in the middle of a lot of people making their way from 5D to 7D. So there's reports that 5D was corrupted and now we're landing in the 7th dimension. What I don't know anymore. Everyone's truth is individual to them, and what they see may be different. But in this process, it's like the feeling has been, okay, let's build up your bubble to land in this 5D New Earth territory. And now that you're being called to make another jump or another leap into another realm, we have to completely tear down that bubble and rebuild it up. Yeah, the cat's running around and being crazy right now, which is cool. I love her. But we're being called to have to rebuild our bubble. And that means that having to build from new eyes, from a new way of viewing ourselves, but especially with the jump from 5D to 7D, for a lot of us that means that we are the master now. So that means that we don't work, we can't get answers from other people. All the answers are within us, everything is within us, and we're supposed to find that for ourselves. It's very much so a self journey. And so because of that, there's many of us that are on this cross point now where it's like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to go through a leg of life right now by myself. And it's interesting as we're like, jumping into the unification efforts, it's like, okay, well, in part of the unification efforts I thought was that I was supposed to band up with everyone. Well, for some of us, in order to unify within, we have to go off and be by ourselves. And so that's coming to the forefront for many of us now, having to get up and to go, having to go change or to travel or whatever. That's something I've been going through heavily. Once again, I've talked about this before, but COVID kind of locked it down for me being able to travel. And that's coming up to the surface again, is having to spend some time by myself to unify. Part of that though too is that Gaia's in a whole new energy. So because of that, for many of us that have subscribed to like being a grid worker or a gatekeeper, she's calling us forward to learn about how she works and from a new light. And so if you're getting that call, to go out in nature more, or to just like disconnect from everyone, to go, connect with the earth more, there might be a very viable reason. The Divine Mother really wants to show many of us her new energy and what she's capable of and what's going on. But part of that process could be a journey, going and picking up some DNA aspects, going in, oh wow. I was just reading a comment from Lori. Sorry to hear about that, Lori. Yeah, many of us are going through relationship stuff right now, having to change what's going on, because once again, it's like, anything that is inorganic or built on an old foundation cannot stick. It just can't. Anything built on an old foundation cannot stick. It's old world territory. So meaning that there are some relationships that it's like, sorry, we have to cut ties, or they have to be reshaped or reformatted, or I feel like the relationships for a lot of people that are going through this, the relationship doesn't have to end. It just takes both parties having to adjust to the new frequencies. That it's time to operate in a whole new way, shape, and form. We can't operate the way that we used to. This is a part of the individuation process, is showing up in this raw, authentic, new form, which for some of us might be kind of some older traits coming back that are really, truly who we are and are needed for what we're called to do or how we're supposed to show up as the light. So, for many of us, we came down here to just be that light, but unfortunately there are people, places, things, scenarios, lessons that we have to go through where our light gets taken away, or we get told we're something we're not, because we have to lose it to find it again. It's a part of the game, it's a part of the play. It's kind of like, let's put all the pieces together and then let's just rip it all apart and let's go find the pieces again. It's kind of the orchestration that is the game, the reality of assembly, disassembly, assembly, disassembly. And I feel like that's kind of been a part of the process that's been kind of a head scramble recently, is very much so feeling like it's been like a carrot on a stick, like we've been promised according to so many things that this is what's to occur. And now it's like, oh, let's just throw everything out the window that you learned and everything that you knew, and you got to start something all new now. And a part of that gets frustrating, but that's also like recognizing that for many of us, we can't really get our feet set in stone anywhere. We're called to constantly change. Like we saw Frozen 2 last night, which, for us, we watch a lot of Disney movies. We're that's just how we are. Regardless of the programming, there's some great lessons in these movies. And in Frozen 2, that's one of the things is she's like, I'm here, I'm home, I just went through a journey, I don't want to start another journey. Well, too bad. Some of us, we lay in for a little bit of time, it's like, nope, on to the next thing, and that's a part of our soul's trajectory here on earth, is to suit up, to show up, to get done something, and then right when it's done, it's like, okay, off to the next adventure. And having to live with that and really accept that that's what we're called to do can be tough at times, because we just want to rest and chill and build a foundation. But also a lot of things too is that we're in a new energy now. Gaia's in a brand new energy. So anything built on an old foundation is not going to stick anymore. It's got to go. And so a lot of us are feeling that. There's been a lot of anger coming up, a lot of anger popping up. Once again, that's a lot of collective stuff. I'm not going to go into all that. I was just about to start going into that. And it's like the biggest thing too with everyone that I know that is quote unquote light worker or a healer or dives into the collective energy is that there's so much going on day to day, and we're all on our own timeline. Like for a while there was this trajectory and there was this plan, right? Okay, here's what's going to happen. Here's what the energies of this month are going to look like. And now we're all kind of walking on the same earth on different timelines, and everyone's having a different experience now. While there might be parallels to some people, there's so much that it's really having to change how a lot of us are, like I've noticed there's not as many energy reports out anymore, because it's just so moment to moment, day to day, things are shifting out. Like we got to this point of, hey, these are the energies that we needed to bring in, and that's collectively what we were discussing. Now it's at a point where it's like, okay, it's all here, and we just need to let everything do what it needs to do. So a big thing for me is that if I feel like the energy in my area, just my general area, is, low vibe or whatever, the best thing that I can do is to kind of put on the I am presence suit, show up as this. And I literally mean that, not show up in the world as that, but like I step into my I am presence, I go out into nature, I connect with the crystals in my area, and I just send love and light to the crystals in my area, and I kind of serve as this amplification point to allow the energy just to lift up a little bit, to clear out what needs to clear out. Because for many of us, for a while, we were in this role of like, we got our power back, and it's like what I was mentioning earlier with being in the room. Well, this person shouldn't be here, and we all thought that, like, not we all, but there was some of us that were like, hey, I have the gates to New Earth, you cannot cross. And Source is like, no, that's not how it works. There's just certain patterns and behaviors and things that need to shift before you can land in there. It's not that no one is welcome, it's just that there's certain behaviors that aren't going to land in New Earth. So because of that, if there's something that's really bothering you in your area, or you're feeling it collectively and you're trying to shift it out, the best thing you can do is go out into nature, intend to connect to the crystals in your area, and just anchor love and light into your area and spread it around. And watch how much that does. I will do that where I wake up some days and I can tell that my area is getting a little, paranoid, a little hyped up, a little delusional, a little angry. Okay, so I go out and I just intend to connect to the crystals, send love light through the highest vibration of love light, and I make sure it doesn't impede on anyone's free will, and that we just kind of soften the energy, and it ends up really making a difference. Granted, I've been doing this for just a little while, so it does make a pretty good difference in a very short amount of time, but it's going to be different for everyone depending on how long you've been doing this. But just intending to send that out there is really going to help with being able to shift out what's going on, or being able to create change, versus having to go out and start pointing fingers and doing the witch hunt and placing the blame game. So there was other things that were coming up too to talk about. But I think that's pretty much it. The main thing I wanted to get out is that how important it is right now to be authentic. We're also in, I am going to go into this, we are also in a time of a big karma clearing, even though, we say karma doesn't exist. Many of us have been saying that, oh, karma doesn't exist, we don't want to stay on the wheel of karma. Right now, the universe is all about balance. So we might be going through things in our life that are needed because it's creating the balance point for the universe or for Gaia or for whatever. It's creating the balance point. So there is a big, I'm going to put in quotations, a karma thing going on where we're going through our stuff to create the balance that is needed in the trajectory and also to learn and to grow and to expand. So because of that, like if it's a little bit rougher for you right now, just know that that's occurring and it's shifting out and it's collective, it's individual, there's cultural karma going on. I've seen different, race karma occurring as well. It's been very layered, but that's definitely something that's occurring. And so being really gentle with yourself and noting too that if you're shifting karma, best believe your loved ones are showing up as that perfect mirror and perfect reflection to reflect to you what is being cleared. It's happening with Samantha and I, and it hasn't happened like this in a while where that was happening for a while for us with triggering and things like that. And so we chose to change our contracts and to shift out our karma. And now it's showing up again. And this is kind of the role of when we're going through a big balance point period, is that the people in your area and your closest people are going to serve as that mirror, that reflection point for you to balance out what you need to balance out in your life. So if that's going on, definitely take time for yourself and recognize it's occurring. And know that this will be done with soon. It's been about a week that I've noticed this going on, and the forecast that I got is that it should be about 2 weeks of balancing that's occurring. So definitely just be gentle with yourself and try to, I say the thing that keeps coming up: live in your joy and live in your passions. For many of us, it's kind of difficult right now because we're still in the process of rediscovering what our joy and what our passions are. So just take it slow and easy. Practice the self-love. And at the end of the day, just show up as you no matter what. That's the biggest thing right now. Authenticity is key. I'm going to keep saying it over and over. Authenticity is key. Authenticity is key. Authenticity is key. Because there are many people in the... hold on 1 second. Oh, that's... Okay, so Lori. With the... I'm going to go into this. So Lori had just commented, what about talking with elementals? The trees are happy when I acknowledge them. It's hard to explain the connection. Does doing this help to raise the vibes, or is it more like connecting with Gaia? That is connecting with Gaia. So connecting with the elementals does help to raise the vibration. What I'm talking about is sending this throughout the collective, meaning like taking that energy and sending out to the people. Because the people in your area might be we're all going through our own transformation process. And if you're feeling like many times I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling some stuff going on and I know it's not mine and I know I'm just picking up on the energy in my area. Going and connecting with the trees and the elementals will help, but also extending that energy out to the collective. So the thing is that we can connect like that, but becoming a pulse point is by amplifying that energy out and sending it into your city or sending it into your soul group. It'll assist in being able to shift the energies out, but definitely connecting the elementals more. Like the energy here, Gaia's energy is all brand new. For me, it's new, meaning even though we're landing in the origin templates, it feels new. At the same time, so you can serve as that if you're connecting. So what I do is when I connect to the trees, if I want to send love out, I make sure that I'm extending the energy that I'm receiving in that connection to the tree. I intend to send it out into the collective. So that's what really will assist in being able to move out what needs to move out, because we have these dense pockets of energy that can kind of sit, and for many of us, if we feel it too much, we can extend that out to the collective to help shift it out just a little bit quicker, so it doesn't just sit there. Even though right now the energies here on Gaia are taking care of this stuff, it's just not as... Some areas are denser than others. So if there's a lot of sacred sites in the area, that area might be doing a lot better than some that have less sacred sites. So, anyways, where was I? At the end of the day too, so here's the other thing that's coming through. Man, I've got itchy nose. Some spirits in here today. When it comes down to this energy too, the individuation energy and recognizing that you're a reflection of source. We recognize that there's this all-knowing within, and having to really, really trust that all-knowing. So, because of this, many of us are taught when we come into this channel, like kind of, and when I think of channeling, it's like reaching up for something that isn't me to come down and try to express what I already know I can express. I just need to remember it. So channeling, things like spirit guides, things like that. With this energy and the way it is now is that we are recognizing that there are layers of distortions and programs that could be blocking us from our truth, especially judgment. Judgment can lock us out of our own truth. And so because of that, I want to remind everyone right now that you hold the key within you to know everything that you need to know. So a part of this journey too is that we don't know, we want to know everything all at once. We want to have it all right now. That's just a part of the what I would call the old/new human condition, is just wanting to know it all right now. It's very much so, it's like fast food. Don't want to work for it, you just want it all right now. Part of this is recognizing that these keys are within you, and through the ability to work with other beings, and you can get keys and get little components about you to discover the key that is you, to unlock all that truth. But to remind yourself that you are the all-knowing. And part of that isn't that we need to reach for anything external of us anymore to give us that confirmation or to allow that information to flow through. It's just a matter of tapping it from within. So this is the same as like connecting to source, the same as connecting to Gaia's energy now, is there's a merger. So it's not so much like I am connecting to this thing external of me, it's now, okay, this thing is within me, and it's unlocking it from within. This has been very much so, a big one is that having to trust fully what we know at this point in time is perfect for us in this moment, but we're also the all-knowing. Many of us are the oracles and came down here being the oracle. It's just that we're still removing all the layers of judgment and programs and distortion that's blocking us from that. And so to just dive into that more, about everywhere that you are, it is an exciting read lately. Diving into more of who you are, everywhere you doubt yourself, everywhere you're judging your truth, everywhere you are giving your power away to someone else to either confirm your truth or to give you their truth. Always fall back into you and who you are. Embrace the truth that you hold and recognize that you have all the keys within you to unlock everything that you need. And it really is our time to find a way to access those keys and to be able to express our truth unconditionally to this world in the way that it needs to show up, or you would like it to show up as the individuation of source that you are. Showing up and being able to express that clearly, confidently, lovingly is really going to be a big part of this change, and it's going to assist a lot in you discovering more of what your purpose is and what your quote-unquote mission is, because that's been a big common thing. What is my mission? What is my purpose? Well, the more that you express yourself authentically, the more that's going to be revealed to you. And a part of this authenticity piece is that this is us calling in our tribe. This is us calling in everything that we desire. Is that if we've been wearing a mask in any way, shape, or form in anything that we've been doing, it's just not going to stick. It's not going to hold in the new energies. The new energies require authenticity. It requires you showing up as you authentically. So now part of this process is like, okay, so who am I? Who am I now, and what does it mean to be authentically me? Regardless of what the New Age agenda tells me, regardless of what that big guru or whatever has told me, regardless of all of that, regardless of what society has told you, regardless of what your family has told you, what does it mean to be me authentically, and how can I show up as that today? And every single day. And this is a process of the relearning is, many of us may have thought we were being authentic for a while, and then we recognized, we may have been cutting corners, or we may have been trying to fit into someone else's framework. And while there are people out there that assist in being that authentic mirror reflection back to us, to be able to like find more, or feel confident in sharing our truth. Sorry, I'm just reading this. It's just being able to just be you authentically right now, and how you can express that to the world. So a big part of this has been like having to take time out to go, who am I? Who am I? And asking that to myself every single day, who am I? And it's not so much like, where am I from? You know, like, oh, I'm from this star system, or I'm from that star system. While a lot of that serves its truth, it's like, no, who am I right now? And not so much with the identity, okay? So we have to be careful with this, because the ego can start to latch in and we want to identify as something. But it's how can I show up as me right now authentically, and not, so like if you are just stepping into the arena and you're trying to sound like some big enlightened guru, it's just not going to stick. And it's because you are an enlightened guru just as you are. You're in the process, you know, and that's for many of us. Same here. It's like there's a lot of things that I tried because once again, I had judgment issues of myself, and I thought that I wasn't worthy of showing up as Corey authentically because I had to be some big technician, or I had to know every single matrix program, or I needed to be, you know, this whatever label. And it didn't work. And there's a lot of old videos that I refer back to and I go, oh my God, what was I doing there? You're dumb, Corey. Not you're dumb, but like show up as you authentically and just be you, because that's perfect just the way it is. And that's what we need more of in this world, is not trying to fit into some other framework or to some other mold, just to be you. Because I'll tell you what, if the people in your reality don't love you as you authentically, there's someone out there that does. There's someone out there that does. And that's a part of this, is we all want to live on that organic timeline. You know, there's a lot of implanted timelines and Armageddon timelines that are active right now. I'm not going to go into those right now because I haven't seen them, I've just felt them, and I've had confirmations that those are occurring right now. And a part of that is we have to step into that true organic nature, which means that we might have components that we thought were organic that are inorganic in our reality. And this can look at as relationships, it could be ideologies, it could be ways we perceived ourselves. You know, it's going to be different for everyone. So now it is time to just find out how we show up as this creator in form, and allow that to be the frequency it is, and not to be molded or changed into something. You know, I see this a lot too, that there's a lot of teachers that I look up to. You know, that and I you know, I listen to their work and I show up to their groups or have shown up in their groups. And someone will say a word and they're like, no, you're not supposed to say that. No, you're not supposed to say that. No, you're not supposed to say that. Don't say that. No, we don't use this word here. We use this word. And it's like, I get it, because there is programming and things associated with all of those words, and I get it. But what it's doing is it's blocking the person from being that individual expression of source in its organic form right now. And it's still trying to shift and mold into something it isn't. And it's just not going to stick. The idea is to be who you are in your process. Because that is when you learn the most, and that's when you're going to be able to receive the most. It's just being you. And right now, we need to step into more of those organic timelines so we can collapse those other things that are still occurring. So definitely is a time to journal. Like, get out the journal and just do that process of self-discovery. You can do, you know, 10, 15 minutes a night, you know, 30 minutes a day, depending on you. For me, I haven't journaled in a while, so I do a lot of just like kind of sitting out and reflecting. But what really does help is light grounding. So talking about it out loud, like processing it with someone else, writing it down on a piece of paper, typing it out, even just vocalizing it to yourself. Like, be the crazy person that's sitting out, you know, talking to himself, because you're light grounding. You're not talking to yourself, you're light grounding. So, so just doing that process every single day is really going to help, because there's a lot shifting on, there's a lot changing, and the energies right now aren't super like powerful, like beating you up. It's actually very subtle. But I do know that we're about to get into a process of a triple eclipse season through June and July. I don't know everything about it. I've just heard reports about it. And I know that it's going to ramp up to some stuff coming to the surface, and we're going to have an interesting summer. But right now is really that time of doing that checklist of who you are, and also what do you want to create for yourself. Like, we're in this new energy. What do you want to create for yourself? Start that planning process and start putting those pieces together. It's really important. Many of us are in this right now where we were like, we thought we were building our new world, and now we're here and we're like, no, now it's time to build all fresh. And the process can be daunting and a little bit scary, you know, doing things in new energy, but, you know, we're builders. That's what we came here to do. We came here to just build, allow what needed to shift, and, you know, a castle made in sand is not going to last. So we need strong foundations. And that's what this process of rediscovering ourselves truly is. And for some of us, like me, coming back into older energy, and it's not because we did anything wrong, it's because that was organic. And you might have encountered some things on your journey that told you that was inorganic, but it actually was perfect just the way it was. And so we're coming back to that. And that's what this individuation process is. So anyways, I'm done now. I love you all unconditionally. Thank you so much for showing up. I just want to suit up and show up. I had some stuff to unpack. I know there's probably a bunch of stuff I forgot that I wanted to talk about that'll be coming out later on. So I'll put that on the wayside. And I definitely, you know, just want to show up and to reflect about this. There's some things coming up. I'm not going to go into them just because let's see what comes out over the next little bit of time with creation points and things coming to the surface and what I want to create for myself. And thank you so much, Lori, for showing up. Thank you, everyone, for showing up here. I appreciate everyone on here. You know, this has been a very difficult process recently, and some of the rougher moments that I've been through in a very, very, very long time. And I know other people are feeling this, so I wanted to let you know that you're loved. That's why I posted that. I posted a video on my community page of the song by the New Radicals. And it's very much so like, do not give up, okay? If you're feeling like you want to give up, if you're feeling suicidal, if you're feeling like this energy is too much and you want to give up, please reach out. I will say you're not alone. I've gone through this quite a few times recently where I've like hit that moment where I'm like, okay, let's just hit the self-destruct button. But the self-destruct button doesn't work for me. And a part of that is because I need to kill off my old reality. It's not I need to kill off me, it's just that my old reality is not resonating with me and it's time to build all new. Or to even build a new way I'm viewing it. It doesn't mean it's the entire reality. It could be the way I'm viewing it. It could be just some belief systems. It doesn't mean like I have to get rid of everything. But, you know, it's different for everyone. But if you're feeling like this lately or you've been feeling like you want to give up, please reach out to someone. If you don't feel comfortable reaching out to me, reach out to someone else, someone that you can care about, and openly state, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now, and just get that off your chest. I had someone reach out the other day who, I didn't openly say that I was feeling that, but started to tell me their story of what they went through, and I was like, how'd you know that I was feeling that way? Because I don't share about that. Oh, thank you, Karen, I appreciate you. But if you're feeling that way at all, if you're feeling like you want to give up, just know that your book's not over. It just could be a chapter closing or a sentence or a paragraph that's closing out. It doesn't mean that you have to end the entire book. So reach out to someone and let's figure out how we can get you to the next page and to be able to get to the next chapter so we can keep that story going, because your story, your reflection of source, you here now, your frequency is important to this and we need you here. Just as you are. So please just continue showing up as you, and everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. So I love you all. I'm going to disconnect from this now, and with that, I'll hop on again soon. Don't know when. We'll see. No plans.